Hello, good morning. Please be welcome to our last math session of the week. Our teaching point for today is I can use equations to solve multi-step word problems involving all four operations. As you might remember, yesterday we were practicing with two-step word problems, but we were supposed to use two different equations and combine different operations to come up with our answer. Today we're going to practice a little bit more with this. Today is Wednesday, April the 2nd, 2020. Our lesson for today is titled Solve Multi-Step Problems. I suggest that you pause the video now and get to write the date and teaching point and the lesson name as well. When you're done with that, we can continue with our quick practice. As a quick practice for today, we have a word problem. It says, Tyler is thinking of a number. If 5 is added to his number and 8 is subtracted from the total, the result is 2. What is Tyler's number? Since Tyler's number is an unknown quantity, I can use different ways to actually represent this number. I can represent it using a letter, I can represent it using a shape, I can represent it using a symbol. So since you don't know this quantity, you're going to use any of these three to represent that number. Afterward, it says that you're supposed to add 5 to this number, and then to all of that, you're going to subtract 8. And all of that is going to be equal to 2. So at the end, you need to come up or actually identify what the value of that number is. I won't add the answer right here today because if I add it right there, I will be giving you the answer. Anyways, I will add the answer to the comment in this video. So when you're done, after giving it a try, you may take a look at the comments. Alright, before we get to solve one multi-step problem, I wanted to take a look at these equations that I have over here. What do we have in common? What do they differ in? So the first thing that I noticed is that I have the same numbers and the same positions using the same operations, right? Right here, even though I have different letters to represent the unknown quantity, in each of them I have an unknown quantity, something that I don't know, a number that I don't know the value of. So as you can see right here, another name to call this is variables, right? So right here I can see that the second one and third one is different from the first one in terms of the parentheses they use, right? So what does a parenthesis mean? A parenthesis means that you're supposed to complete that operation first. If we go back to pandas, we might remember that we have an order to solve operation. First, when I find parentheses, I solve whatever is inside first. Then I try multiplication and division, and then at last I try addition and subtraction. In the first one, I would actually try this product right here, and then I would try this division right here. What I get from these two different operations, I'm going to add it. On the second one, I'm supposed to solve the one in the parentheses first. However, inside this parenthesis, I have multiplication and addition. So which one should I supposed to solve first? I'm supposed to solve the multiplication one first. And then that result is going to be added to 4 because that's the order that I'm supposed to follow using the pandas rule. After all of that is solved, I'm going to divide this by 4. Alright? On my third one, I have a different grouping. As you can see on the second one, I involve the first 3 terms, but in the third one, I'm only involving the, let's say, 2 and 3. Right, so I'm supposed yet again to try the parentheses first, which is 3 plus 4 equal to 7, and then I'm going to multiply that by 4, and whatever I get from that, well, 7 times 4 is actually 28, I'm going to divide that by 8, by 4, I mean. So it would be 28 divided by 4. If you try this, you're going to see that we're going to have different results from the way that we're grouping the operations, right? So keep in mind the dependence rule that we already practiced. All right, so since today we're going to practice multi-step problems, right here I have one. So let's read it. Mr. Mr. Steels made bags of school supplies for the 9 students in his class. He has 108 pencils and 72 erasers. He puts the same number of pencils and the same number of erasers into each bag. How many more pencils than erasers are in each bag of school supplies? Now, since we're talking right here about 9 students, you need to think about these 9 students as 9 different groups, right? Now, it says that he's supposed to distribute 108 pencils and 72 erasers to these 9 groups. So what comes to my mind when I think of distributing is division. So I'm supposed to divide or distribute or share these 108 pencils into these 9 students, and then I'm going to try the same with the erasers. Then at the end, they're asking me how many more pencils than erasers are in every bag. So that means that after completing that first operations, where I need to divide twice, if I think about it, then I'm supposed to compare the amount of pencils and the amount of erasers in every bag, all right? So we're going to solve the problem by finishing Nicoles and Davis' method. These are two students that tried different methods to actually come up with this answer. We're going to discuss what is alike and what is different about the methods. So let's take a look at Nicoles 1, all right? Write an equation for each step. As I recommended at first, or as analyzed, she divided 108, which is the amount of pencils that Mr. Steels put in each bag of school supplies, by 9, which is the amount of students in the class. So he's tried that, he will get that that is equal to 12. So that means that every kid will have 10 pencils into his bag. Now, I need to find the number of erasers that Mr. Steels put in each bag of school supplies. So I'm going to divide those 72 erasers into my 9 students. So if I try that, that would be equal to 8. Now, since the equation is asking me how many more pencil than erasers are in each bag, so that means that I'm comparing the 12 that I got, the 12 pencils that I got in every bag, compared to the 8 erasers that I get in every bag. So if I compare that, I need to subtract in order for me to know how many more. So if I'm at 8 and I want to get to 12, that means that I need to get a difference of 4 to actually get there. So if I try 12 minus 8, I will get a 4 as well. So the answer for my question is 4. There are 4 more pencils than eraser in each bag of school supplies. And this is the way I want you to come up with your answer. Don't write a random number right there or operation, but you need to answer in a long sentence what you're being asked. So let's try Davis' method this time, all right? So in this case, he said that P, an unknown quantity, which is the amount of more pencils than erasers that are in every bag. So he did it this way. He just jumping right away to, he did it in a more straightforward method, like he wired everything in his mind and then he came up with this one. Not as detailed as the previous one. So in this side, he groups the amount of pencil per student. On this side, he groups the amount of eraser to every student. And then he compares the two amounts right away, right here with the subtraction operation. Whatever he gets out of this will be equal to P, which represents the amount of more pencils than erasers that are in every bag. So if we solve this one, 108 will be the amount of pencils divided by the amount of kids, minus 72, which is the amount of erasers divided by the same amount of students. Then he would get 12 on the left, minus 8, which is equal to solving 72 divided by 9. After that, he will get 4, which is equal to the amount of more pencil than erasers that are in every bag. It is important that you keep in mind the steps that I shared with you last time, where we have 6 steps to actually come up with word problem solutions. First, we're going to try to read the problem carefully. If we don't get it, we're going to read it a second time. We're going to underline keywords that will allow us to identify what operation to use. If we need to make a drawing, we can try a drawing. Then we're going to come up with a situation equation, then with the solution one, and then you're going to check if your answer makes sense. Your independent work for today will be working on these 3 exercises. Right here, you will need to make different steps and actually use different operations, combine them actually, to come up with your answer. Keep in mind to provide long answers. This time, you're going to find the error. You have a situation right here, a word problem, and you're going to take a look at the steps that our friend Puzzle Penguin followed. And then you're going to solve it on your own and write a response to our Puzzle Penguin, explaining him the mistake that you found. Right guys, I hope that everything was clear in this lesson. If you have any question, you already know how to reach me. I will see you next time.